Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to be covering the week that was in pro wrestling. That includes Monday Night Raw, NWA Power, and AEW Dynamite. That's right, a bit of a short week this week. Some things are happening in my life right now, and nothing major, probably just going to go have a drink or something tonight. So, we're gonna sit back, relax, and let's get into this one. And we start off with Monday Night Raw, which was supposed to start with a match between Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. However, instead they decided to brawl to the ring. They get into the ring and they just keep going at one another. Out comes Raquel Rodriguez. She's back from the Nia Jax injury. And she goes right after Nia Jax, including a big boot and a clothesline, which Raquel is getting a lot better in the ring. Not to say she was bad, but she's getting a lot better. And then, of course, out comes the Women's World Champion, Rhea Ripley. Goes right after Jax herself, and then all four just start hammering it against each other. Then security, referees, officials get in there, try to break it up. They continue to brawl for a little bit until Nia and Baszler are forced out of the ring. They walk up the ramp. Baszler then cocks Nia Jax on the top of the ramp, and they brawl to the back. Then Rhea gets on the microphone, pretty much saying, "Yeah, I'm back from injury, but I'm not done here yet." She calls Judgment Day to the ring. But the only two who show up were Damian Priest and Dom Mysterio. She then turns to Dom and Priest, pretty much saying, "Priest, you had responsibilities with Dom. You were to make sure he kept his title." And Priest is like, "Well, that was news to me. I didn't realize it was my responsibility to babysit him." Then Rhea retorts, "Well, I do see your point. We're a family in here, and we should be looking out for one another." Then she turns to Dom, pretty much says, "Look, tomorrow, NXT, I got you a rematch for the North American title. You either handle your business and bring the title back, or don't come back at all." So a nice little ultimatum from Rhea Ripley. Then all of a sudden, Jey Uso pops up and starts kind of flirting with Rhea, which was really awkward. Calling himself the new tribal chief on Raw, which, okay. Saying he's got bigger Rhea's got bigger balls than Roman, which, shots fired. Priest then gets on the mic saying, "Jay, I'm so tired of hearing you talk." Priest was going to go in for an attack, but Dom holds him back, with Dom saying, "I'll handle this." And then Dom eats a super kick. Out comes JD McDonough from behind, attacks Jay. Jay starts to fight back, but then Dom and McDonough start beating down Jay. And then Cody out, making the save, a super kick, and a crossroads to Dom. Poor guy. So yeah, nice, interesting little opening. Then we get Adam Pearce coming out. He's the authority figure for WWE, pretty much announcing that it'll be Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso taking on the Judgment Day for the tag titles at Fastlane. So, interesting little matchup. I guess it kind of makes sense. I'm glad Cody is at least doing something on pay-per-view. So, yeah, interesting. We then roll right into our first match of the evening, as it's the Alpha Academy, that's Otis and Chad Gable, taking on Imperium, that's Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser. Starts off really well with Kaiser and Gable. At times Vinci gets involved, but he gets taken out by Gable himself. Gable doing a lot of wrestling early on, which is always great to see. Chad Gable is a treat to watch. Eventually, we do get Otis coming in, hits a big splash on both two members of Imperium, and a double caterpillar, which that was impressive. Vinci then fights back. Kaiser with an enziguri to pick up the victory for Imperium. Match hitting on an enziguri, you don't see that very often. But, oh well, it was an entertaining little match. Maybe not super important, but I had fun with it. We then get a medical update on Becky Lynch, when it turns out we won't be having the planned NXT Women's title match for the evening. Then we cut to Tegan Nox, kind of complaining about not having her title shot, talking to Adam Pearce about Becky. Then Chelsea Green interrupts. She pretty much, I heard the news about Becky, and here you are, Tegan, just complaining. I'm happy it's postponed. You're really not championship material. Then Adam Pearce has a great idea. Why don't we prove it as you, Chelsea Green, take on Tegan Nox later on tonight? So, we'll see where that leads. We then go to our second match of the evening, as it's Bronson Reed taking on Cedric Alexander. Alexander does get some good stuff in early on, but ultimately it is an extended squash match, ending with a big senton splash and a tsunami for Bronson Reed to pick up the win. We then see Adam Pearce backstage on the phone. In comes Drew McIntyre, who pretty much says, yeah, Adam, you gotta tell Miz I'm not doing Miz TV again this week. I did it for him last week, so I don't feel like doing it tonight. Pearce then says, well, Miz requested this go down tonight. In which Drew retorts, oh, Miz requested. Well, then I'm definitely not doing it. Instead, I am just going to go out there and I'm going to speak my mind. And if Miz sticks his nose in my business again, tell him I'll kick his ass. So, yeah, Drew a bit on the warpath, and I am here for it. We then get the contract signing for the Intercontinental title match, which originally was supposed to take place next week, but we will get to that. Both competitors come out. It's Tommaso Ciampa and it's Gonta. Ciampa then gets the mic. Pretty much says, look, what I'm doing here is beyond imagination. We are two people who matter. There are differences between you and me. You've been served filet mignon ever since you got up here, while guys like me get roadkill and we make it into filet mignon, which is a great line and is a bit of truth, honestly, for the WWE. I'm not going to get all into it, but Ciampa does have a really good point there. Ciampa continues, the Intercontinental title is something I've been dreaming of having since I was 5 years old. And I'm going to come out here next week. I'm going to wrestle with my heart. And there's going to be a new Intercontinental champion. he signs the contract. Now, before Gunther signs, he picks up the microphone, pretty much saying, "This is an official contract signing, and you're dressed like that." He has camo pants on and a sleeveless t-shirt, while Gunther is in a suit, which, honestly, Gunther in the suit looks real good. Gunther continues, "The way you look right now tells me everything I need to know about you. You are fighting for the right thing. But you don't want to know what's dear to me? It's not my family. It's not my team. It's the Intercontinental title. And I'm going to end up being the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. Get a good look at it, Ciampa, because this is about as close as you're going to get to it." Then Ciampa retorts, "Oh, I see how confident you are in yourself. However, your world is about to crumble when I beat you for the title." Then Gunther's like, "Never interrupt me again." And then Ciampa retorts, "Look, I'll interrupt you as much as I want to, but let's have a look. We have cameras all around us. We've got a crowd ready to see me make history and make you tap out. Let's not make them wait until next week. Let's do this tonight." And Gunther, I guess, agrees to it, and they just start brawling. And then Ciampa tries to get the Sicilian stretch in on Gunther. Gunther backs off and rolls out of the ring. So, it does look like the Intercontinental title will be on Raw instead of scheduled for next week. So, interesting little rescheduling. Then we get Judgment Day in the back with JD pretty much saying, "What is Price thinking? We don't want our opponents on the same page, obviously. So this is how we divide them." So they're looking for a way to divide and conquer Jay and Cody, which could be interesting. We then roll right into Xavier Woods versus Ivar of the Viking Raiders. And, starts Xavier Woods hot right off the start. Ivar then powers himself back in. Tries to go for a powerbomb that gets blocked. Big Splash misses. But then a roll-up. With the tights in hand, your winner, Xavier Woods. Post-match, Ivar then takes out Woods, including a big old moonsault. Kofi tries to make the save, but Ivar pretty much takes out the New Day on his own, including a moonsault to both, which I hope Eric comes back soon. I do miss the totality of the Viking Raiders. Ivar's doing some good stuff on his own, but I think he's better in a team. We then get a Seth Rollins in-ring interview with Michael Cole. Drops a little hint about a certain chick magnet. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Seth Rollins has pretty much revealed, "I've been asking Nakamura for a rematch for weeks now, and now I've got it. But I gotta be honest with you. I don't know how to put this in words. I'm addicted to it. I need it. I love it. This ring is where I belong. And it is my responsibility to give this crowd everything. And when you're champion, that responsibility gets amplified. if this is my last ride at Fastlane, then I'm proud to have left it all in the ring and fulfilled my responsibility. And yeah, that's the best I got. A feeling. And this just feels right. Then Nakamura appears on the screen, pretty much saying, I'm done with your lies. Are you just milking your injury to get sympathy? He does continue on for a little bit, but then from behind, the real Nakamura attacks him with a chair and a Kinshasa to the back. And and then the Nakamura on the screen starts counting like they're going to do in the Last Man Standing match. But Seth keeps getting up, so Nakamura keeps attacking him. But Seth keeps getting up, and then we get a sidewalk slam into the chair, which completes the 10 count, in which we finish up with Nakamura holding the title over his head. Will that be what we see at Fastlane? Who knows? I guess we'll see. We then get Tegan Nox backstage. She's warming up a little bit. And then Becky Lynch walks in. Pretty much saying, look, I'm sorry I couldn't be cleared for tonight, so we got to push back our match. But when I am back, we are going to get to it, and I can't wait for it. Becky Lynch then walks off. In walks Natalya, of all people, pretty much saying, look, I feel awful that you've lost your title shot, but I also feel like we got off on the wrong foot. I'm proud of you. You got the opportunity, and I appreciate it. And then they hug. So apparently Natalya and Nox are best friends now. Don't get it, but whatever. We then roll right into Chelsea Green versus Tegan Nox. Nox starts out really fast and quick. Chelsea Green then rolls to the corner, in which Piper Niven tries to get involved while the ref is distracted. Natalya takes her out. And then Tegan Nox heats the shiniest wizard for the victory. So it looks like we got our number one contenders to the tag titles. Which, I don't like this. I do hope when Becky Lynch gets better, she's 100%. And we can see the best of her and Tegan Nox. With the talent in the ring, this was a whole big bag of nothing. Like, no offense to the competitors. I love both these two. Chelsea Green's Karen character has really been working. But it's hard to care with characters like these. Like, the women's tag division hasn't been like a whole lot of nothing since they got started, which is a shame. Anyway, we roll right into a backstage interview with Jey Uso. Pretty much saying, look, when I came to Raw, I was hoping for a fresh start. When I was the Bloodline, Cody was the enemy. But at Fastlane, we good. So it looks like Cody and Jey are a bit on the same page, but we'll see. We then get a Drew McIntyre in-ring promo where he pretty much says, everyone wants an answer, but I don't have to explain myself to anybody. Those have been fans of me for years will understand. I'm just going to stop being a savior. I'm going to show up. I'm going to fight. I'm not going to fight at less than 100%. But those back there, Cody, Jey, they're a bunch of hypocrites. Besides Cody. I feel like I'm in the Codyverse. And this is what Jey has is a weakness, not a strength. Then out comes The Miz, because of course. Pretty much says, I don't forgive you for what you did. That you had Miz TV tonight get cancelled. You sat there, you told your story. Drew McIntyre pretty much says, "Shut up, Miz. You're warned not to come out here. Now I'm going to have to do something about it." Miz then says, "I stood up for you." 10,000 people chanting, "Shut up, Miz." Was it justified? No. Now, are you going to embrace who you are? Shut up, Miz. Miz continues, "Look, we know where you're heading. Will you be the bad guy?" Drew responds, "No, that isn't how I operate. Now I feel like I gotta have a fight. And why don't you get in here?" Miz then says, "I'm not dressed for a match. I'm in a suit, you're in a kilt. You're painting up yourself as a hero, but you're as self-absorbed as I am. I called you the Batman of the WWE. No, you're Two-Face. You're trying to play both sides of the coin. Shut up, idiot. This isn't worth my time, and now time is up. Be the bigger man and walk away." Miz starts to back off. He's about halfway up the ramp. Drew turns his back around, and Miz sneaks back in and tries to attack him. Referee breaks it up, and that leads right into Miz versus Drew McIntyre. Now, Miz, of course, is still in his suit. He's got his dress shoes on. Drew is in his wrestling gear. And yeah, Drew is just beating 7 shades of blue out of Miz for a bit. Miz does come back after a while, gets some offense in. But then after a Glasgow kiss and a Claymore, your winner, Drew McIntyre. Drew then gets on the microphone, pretty much says, "Done thinking. I'm sorry for my actions, which means I'm automatically forgiven." And then he puts down the mic and walks to the back. Which, funny little segment for Drew. Hopefully this means he is going to go full heel pretty soon. We then get a promo interview from Trick Williams, who is the current North American title. Pretty much goes over him beating Dom and seeing gold everywhere. Judgment Day then interrupt. Dom says, "I hear you talking trash. Well, on NXT tomorrow, I'm not coming alone." And then the Judgment Day walk off. We then get a Cody Rhodes kind of on the ramp interview, which is always very weird. Where he pretty much says, "Yeah, I never thought I'd be tagging with Jay, but Judgment Day is now backed into this match. I hear they're going to be on SmackDown on Friday night. Well, myself and Jey Uso are going to march into SmackDown, make sure Judgment Day be on the best behavior, march into the fast lane, and win the tag team titles." Which, nice little short and sweet promo from Cody. We then get Alpha Academy backstage, where they pretty much talk about, the match that just happened, calling Imperium cheaters, and then Chad Gable with the loudest big boy voice I've ever heard. "All those idiots will pay," and then he walks off. Does this mean we're getting a new Chad Gable gimmick, which might be good for him? Who knows? We then get into our main event of the evening, with the Intercontinental title on the line, as Gunther defends against Tommaso Ciampa. This was an awesome matchup between awesome competitors. It was great. I don't really know how else to talk about this? Plenty of near falls. Ciampa's fairy tale ending. Finisher got blocked a couple times. Tried to lock in the Sicilian stretch a couple times, but Gunther gets out of it. Finish comes with chops into a big boot, into a couple of power bombs, which those look nasty, right into a sleeper hold for the victory. Although Ciampa didn't tap out, he just passed out. Although loss is a loss, so that's fine. Awesome match. I'm gonna say you guys should go rewatch it. That was a great matchup. Anyway, cut back. The entirety of Imperium are in the ring. They're taking boots to Tommaso Ciampa. Who comes out to make the save? It's Johnny Gargano. Johnny Wrestling is back. He fights off Imperium. And then as soon as he and Ciampa go in for the hug, the show ends and it runs right into a Chucky commercial. So, yeah, good to see DIY back together. Looks like they're going to feud with Imperium for a while, which maybe means Johnny Gargano's next for the Intercontinental title. I wouldn't mind that. So, yeah, that was Monday Night Raw. It was a bit of an odd one, especially for a go-home episode, with Fastlane coming this Saturday. So, we'll see where we finish up there. And next up, we got NWA Power. And we start off with women's tag team action, as Natalia Markova teams up with Taylor Rising to take on the former champions M95. And honestly, this was a heck of a good tag team match. While Rising is a little bit inexperienced with the NWA, she worked really, really well with the others. And then, of course, Markova is pretty much the real veteran presence in this matchup. Middle of the match, Natalia goes for the beautiful disaster kick and the jazz stinger, but that only gets a 2 count. Missa Kate misses on the reality check. Right into the crush clutch of Markova for the submission victory for Markova and Rising, who now are number 1 contenders to the women's tag team titles at Solway later in the month. That's going to be an interesting matchup. Something a little different for Markova to do. I like that. So next we get an interview with Chris Silvio Esquire and Blake Troop. Silvio reveals he didn't request this match, but his opponent, Jax Dane, did. He actually requested a match with Blake Troop, but before you get to him, you gotta go through me. And Jax, we go way back. I put money in your account. I put food on your table. I made you into a heavyweight. But now you betray the Savages like this. But now you haven't seen the best of me. And you're going to be the one who will be broken after our match. So, nice little setup for that match, which we'll talk about that dumpster fire later. We then go right into the junior heavyweight title match as Kobe Carino defends against Matt Vine, formerly of the Fixers. Yeah, this match was absolutely off the hook. Colby Corino using more of his speed. Matt Vine was definitely maybe a step above the junior heavyweight division, but I feel like he worked really, really well with Colby. Then after a tornado DDT, your winner, still junior heavyweight champion, Colby Corino. We then go right into an interview with Taylor Rising and Markova, pretty much calling M95 a tough challenge, but we knew we would be a success, and we cannot wait for the dominance to come when we take the tag team titles from Pretty Empowered. And Pretty Empowered, you're not the only pretty and powerful team in the division. Which, nice short and sweet promo from the challengers. Hope we hear from the champions sometime soon, because they were planning on to have a costume contest. We then get a solo promo from Aaron Stevens, no blunt force trauma with him, which they're the champions. With Stevens pretty much saying, really? That's the best you can come up with? There's no standards here today in the NWA, and I'm going to try to bring it back. NWA definitely needs fixing. BFT are at the top of the game, and we've done it with class, dignity, and honor. On that, Mike Knox and Trevor Murdoch come out, with Murdoch pretty much saying, yeah, we are at your mercy. We want another shot at the titles, and we will do anything to get that opportunity. And Stevens says, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. What is wrong with you guys? There's no dignity or honor in this. Now, Trevor, we used to be friends. Now we are not. However, if you put your hands on me, this match is off. Stevens then asks, what do you guys want? Murdoch answers, I want to be champion again. And Knox replies, I want to punch you in the face. Stevens retorts, one punch, deal is off. So Stevens then asks, you want another shot? This will be fought on our time at the pay-per-view in a medieval Knights of the Round Table tables match, in which I have no idea what that means. And then Stevens finishes, we will put you through a table and put you in the rear view. So that ends the promo. Yeah, I don't know what Knights of the Round tables match is, but it's going to be interesting. Then we get a backstage interview from Camille and Tom Latimer. With Latimer going over his recent history, where he won the TV title, defended successfully against others for the shot at the world title. Not going to be taking EC3 lightly, and we're going to be doing battle in my hometown. Well, Ethan, you don't have an insurance policy with you. Then Camille pipes in, pretty much says, who else can I beat? My focus for the pay-per-view is going to be on Tom. Not going to be with Aldis. I'm more than an insurance policy. I'm like a mama lion protecting my herd. So, it does sound like no match for Camille at the pay-per-view. She does have a rematch clause, considering she was the last women's champion. But, yeah, we'll see what goes from there. Camille kind of reverting back to her muscle days when she was seconding Nick Aldis. So, yeah, this should be interesting. Next up, we get Chris Silvio versus Jack Stane. But before they can lock up, well, at first, Silvio kind of goes in, kind of fakes out Jack Stane, but Dane is just standing there stone cold, not reacting to him at all. Then Silvio gets on the microphone, pretty much says, "Jax, look closely. This is what you had when you couldn't get the job done against Tim Storm." He has his steel chair in his hand. However, there is one man missing from the desk. Tim Storm is there. You put him in the hospital bed, Jax, but you couldn't put him out of his misery. I want you to finish me, but I know you're too afraid to do it to Tim, so you can't really do it to me. Then Chris puts down the chair, puts down the microphone, gets on his knees and says, "Finish me off! Finish me off!" And then lays down. Then Silvio gets up, starts taunting Jack Stane a little bit more, who hits a pop the trunk clothesline right to Silvio. Gets him right into Trap City for the submission victory. So, match. This was definitely more of an angle than a match, because Chris Silvio isn't exactly a wrestler. At least, I don't think. Then out comes Blake Troop. He collects Chris Silvio and takes him to the back. We then get an interview from the Kazana family, where the father says, "Yeah, I'm going to support my kid, and what happened between the country gentlemen wasn't right." Then the youngin pretty much chimes in, "I've been plugging around NWA with dead weight. The speculation on what happens to the country gentleman, it buried him. The country gentleman will be fine. I'll get to you guys later. Well, we got you dead to rights." So, kind of an all over the place promo. We'll see what happens from there. It does look like the country gentlemen are going to go along without their other member. We then get an interview from Big Strong Mims and Zicky Dice, who are going to be competing next week for the NWA TV title. With Mims pretty much saying, history is going to be made right here. I was originally here to help set up the ring, and I got the opportunity, and I'm happy it's going to be in this ring, and I'm ready to fight. Zicky Dice interrupts, "Has he earned this spot? What's with the disrespect? The title is coming home with me." So, I was kind of hoping this match would be at Solway, but I guess they have other plans for it. Kind of fingers crossed Zicky Dice picks up the win. Although I wouldn't mind Mims winning it either. And final emote for Power. We got the national heavyweight title on the line as Thrillbilly Silas Mason takes on Dak Draper. And this was honestly a really, really good outing from both of them. Really good back and forth. After a blocked powerbomb, Silas Mason right into the thrill ride for the victory and the retention. Overall, Power was a solid episode. Gonna be interesting to see what they do over the next couple weeks, because they got a while until Solway, and I'm excited. And a final amount, we get AEW Dynamite, and we kick us off with a Kenny Omega Chris Jericho interview. with Kenny pretty much saying, look, it's hard to believe that we'll be teaming up again to take out Don Callis and his family, but after this, we're done. Then in comes, of course, Adam Copeland, aka Edge. Pretty much saying, look, I haven't been here a long time. It's good meeting you, Kenny. Jericho, nice to see you again. Kenny Omega says, look, your debut, you had me on the edge of my seat. Edge then pretty much says, look, I'll be rooting for you guys. Take out Don for me, will ya? So, I guess Edge has a little history with Don Callis that I really don't remember. So, I guess we'll see what happens there. First match of the card, we get the international title on the line as Nick Jackson takes on Rey Fenix. And honestly, this was just as good as their first one-on-one bout in I want to say that was early 2020. A lot of back and forth, a lot of good flying. One point, Rey Fenix hits a destroyer on the apron. Nick Jackson then with a one-man BTE trigger, which that looks very weird. Only gets a 2 count. Rey Fenix with a frog splash into a 2. Then Rey with a big roll-up with his hands in the tights for the win and the retention. We then get the weirdest segment of the evening as we show Adam Cole outside of the Strong residence. Then you see Roddy and the Kingdom come out pretty much saying, yeah, Adam, we got something for you. Get in here. There's a present before him. Adam Cole opens it up. It's one of those like scooters you had. Like it's weird to explain. Like it's a kind of tricycle like scooter with a bike. Wait, I think people use it when they break their legs. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen people really use it. Then we see Roddy and Cole start rolling around the house. Then a little bit after that, Cole asks, all right, cool, what's the emergency? Roddy's like, oh, I need you to just move some furniture around the house. Cole's like, dude, I'm just about to go in for ankle surgery. I really need this. Then Roddy's like, Cole's like, why can't you get the Kingdom to do it? Roddy's like, oh, they don't really know the feng shui like you do. Can you do this for me? We then see Adam Cole like trying to move a couch by himself and moving plants while on the scooter. It's weird, but it's also kind of funny. Then we see Adam Cole finished up. Roddy's like, oh, this is such a good job. Then Adam's like, okay, cool. I really need to go. I need to get this surgery done. I'll see you later. Just as he's rolling off, we hear Roddy, Adam! I still need your help with something. Which, ooh, we're going to see where this leads. Roddy is definitely taking advantage of Adam Cole here. We then get a one-on-one contest where it's Griff Garrison in the ring, and we have the return of Wardlow. Wardlow's back, super happy about it. Goes right in, shoulder tackle, couple of stomps, powerbomb symphony for the win as the ref calls off the match. We then get a Don Callis interview. He reveals Sammy Guevara isn't cleared to go for tonight. So, instead, we are drafting the services of Kyle Fletcher to fill in. And then Don Callis finished it up saying, Kenny, Chris, nobody remembers who wins the battles. They remember who wins the wars. Which, Nice way to finish that up. We then get a trios match with, I believe, the tag team title is on the line, as the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass take on the Butcher, the Blade, and Kip Sabian. Sabian and Butcher and Blade jump the Acclaimed before the bell. Acclaimed fight back a little bit. Then we start off with Max Caster and the Blade starting it off. A decent leg drop sidewalk slam combination. Definitely a decent little back and forth between these 6. Match ends with a kind of magic killerish move. I don't know the name of the finisher, with the Acclaimed picking up the victory and retaining their titles. Next up, we roll right into the next Toni Storm interview, with pretty much her saying, look, who cares about the past? Let's talk about the here and now. Nobody really knows how to handle what's it like to be in the spotlight. Do I still have it? The luck. Yes, I'm timeless. So we have timeless Toni Storm making her debut later tonight. So I am loving this character. The Toni Storm timeless character is so good. I can't wait to see where this goes. Next up, we get an in-ring promo from Bullet Club Gold. Right now, that's just Juice Robinson and the Gun Club. And the Guns, Austin and Colton. With pretty much Juice pretty much saying, look, MJF, come on out here. You got some explaining to do, pal. MJF then comes out. We've got an interesting trio here. The Ass Boys, that starts an Ass Boys chant. And Talentless Taint, which, Juice Robinson starts pointing at his taint. I'm rock hard, baby. Which, dude, Juice, you're a treasure. Then Juice pretty much says, look, we know that you jumped Jay because you're scared of Bullet Club Gold. Then MJF lists his transgressions here in AEW. Then he says, look, I've been open about my shit, but I am definitely not the one who attacked Jay. And now I'm done talking about it. Let's handle our business in a street fight. MJF starts taking off his shirt, gets in the ring, Bullet Club Gold scatter. In comes Jay White and attacks MJF from behind, including hitting a Blade Runner. Then Jay White takes the AEW title, walks up the ramp with it. When he gets on the mic, pretty much says, yeah, this looks right. I'm a cut above. Your cheap games don't work here. You got one up on me last week, but I'm not buying what you're selling. I know the real MJF. You're a pathetic, filthy liar. And let's have an elite champion, which you are not. And at Full Gear, let's prove me wrong. Let's have me versus MJF for the title. And you try to prove that you're an elite champion, and you will fail. Oh, and I'm taking this. Then MJF, after the beatdown, gets a mic, says, you want me at Full Gear, Jay White? Yawn! So it looks like we are getting Jay White versus MJF for the AEW title. at Full Gear, which that sounds like a spicy meatball to me, baby. We then get a Hook Orange Cassidy interview where Cassidy pretty much says, "We would have been great champions, man. Hook, you're still a great champion." Hook then replies, "It should have been you instead of Rey Fenix taking on Mox this Tuesday." So, gonna be interesting to see where this one goes. Then we go right into Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega versus Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita. And I don't know, this definitely wasn't their best match. Not to say it was bad per se, but it wasn't as good as their previous bouts. There was definitely a lot of good back and forth, a lot of cheating from the Callis family. Then match finish came with a one-winged angel from Kenny Omega, which gets them your winners. Don Callis, who was on commentary the whole time, starts to come down to the ring, starts talking about Kyle Fletcher. He's then cornered by Jericho and Kenny. Then all of a sudden, Powerhouse Hobbs comes out, attacks both Omega and Jericho. Takeshita joins in the beatdown. You have Kenny Omega tied up in the ropes with duct tape. Jericho tries to get in between them, but he gets taken out by a really nasty chair shot. And then Omega takes a chair shot to the head, in which I don't need to see that shit anymore. And then, it looks like we got Powerhouse Hobbs and the Don Callis family, which, honestly, I think that's a really good fit. We then get an MJF backstage interview as he's getting looked down by trainers. Pretty much says, "Man, this shit would be easier if Adam were here." Then in the background, you see Max Caster and the Acclaimed kind of goofing off. Max then comes from behind while the doctor was like massaging MJF, takes over that. Once MJF notices, he's like, "Look, dude, back off. You've been stalking me on Twitter all the time. You've been leaving notes in my bag. Enough. Either you knock it off and leave me alone, or I'm going to get a restraining order." Then Max leaves. MJF tries calling Adam Cole, but it goes right to voicemail, which, that is so heartbreaking. We're going to see how this goes between MJF and Adam Cole. We then go right into a nicely shot Samoa Joe promo, saying he's focused, he's ready. He should have been AEW champion already. And I'm next to eat. So, it does look like Samoa Joe's going to stay in the AEW World Title division for a little bit. So, we shall see where that goes. Next up, we got the arbitrary women's match of the evening, as we have Sky Blue, who is sporting a little black around her eye, with the corruption from Julia Hart starting, taking on Toni Storm. And it was a serviceable match. Definitely had both women looking really good, including Toni Storm kind of breaking the fourth wall a couple times, pretty much turning to the camera saying, "And now a message from our sponsors." Picture-in-picture starts, which that got a good laugh at me. Near the end, Sky Blue tries for a super kick that gets caught into a hip attack. Storm Zero, your winner, Toni Storm. So, that's going to be interesting to see. It is then revealed on Rampage, coming on later tonight, that we are getting a fatal 4-way with the winner getting a shot at the Ring of Honor title. This is revealed by Stokely Hathaway, who pretty much says, yeah, we deserve a champion who smells really good, not like a Burger King parking lot, or whatever the heck he said. We then get a nice little promo by Adam Copeland, aka Edge. Talking with Tony Schiavone a bit, saying, I grew up with you as my soundtrack, but this is my ring now, get the heck out. So Tony Schiavone leaves, and I'm going to talk to y'all. Wrestle Dream was a lot of fun. Rewind, let's say 2011, I was told I could never do this again. Well, here in 2023, I got a few reasons why I'm here. I'd like to see the AEW title. And I've got a whole roster of first-time challengers for me. You got Jon Moxley, which I didn't know he and Mox didn't have a match. I thought that happened. Kenny Omega, Miro, Powerhouse Hobbs, Jay White, Juice Robinson. All great reasons to be here. And I want to challenge myself to something new. So I sat down with my family and I asked them, what should Dad do? Should I retire? And then my youngest daughter says, why don't you go have fun with Uncle Jay, aka Christian Cage? Copeland then calls out Christian Cage. It takes a beat. Then Christian Cage comes out. Pretty much says to him, it's been 40 years. We've been best friends. This injury pretty much proves we were best friends for life. And I've been seeing you out there looking like a sad sack. More of a sad sack than usual. But I still love you. And I'm never going away. But I saw you at Wrestle Dream standing over Sting. And I remember in our childhood you had a Sting haircut. I had the Lex Luger haircut. And that was a man who caused people to feel for decades. And I couldn't stand by and watch you attack Sting. The reason why I put down Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne, I want it to be time for you and I to team up once again and go for the tag team titles. Challenge the Young Bucks, one of the best teams of all, and prove to everyone why we're one of the best teams of all time. I'm asking you, let's do it. Let's end our careers as a team. They go in for a hug, and then Christian whispers, go fuck yourself, and walks off. Then he gets on the microphone, says, quick reminder of what you're up against next Tuesday. And that brings out Luchasaurus to end the show. Honestly, a really solid week of pro wrestling so far. And on a little bit of a note, next week's Dynamite is actually going to be on Tuesday due to the MLB playoffs. So, they're going to be going head-to-head to NXT. So, just a little reminder to be ready for that. Alright, that'll do it for me. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't. Coming next week, Monday, will be my review for Fastlane, which you'll see my predictions on the channel already. And then either Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on what's going on. I may do it on Wednesday. I'll give you the rest of the review for this past week. So, until then, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.